is up, YeshGaming Nation? Robert the Bruce here. Today's video, killer combos. We're looking at the 870 plus the Crossbow, running them together for a short-range monster and a little long-range weapon in case you find yourself in that kind of scenario. I love this setup. My favorite level to run this on is, in fact, Hijacked, where we are right now, because it just... the majority of this map is close encounters, but you do have a few long corridors, and if you find yourself up on one of the balconies looking down for a minute, you've got that crossbow where you can still do some damage at a distance. The reason I love this is because, the most of the time, as you'll see in this video, you run the 870. You're not running around with the crossbow as your primary or anything trying to be silly, because it's just not that effective. We all know that. The 870 is a monster. Typically a one-shot kill, even at pretty solid range, especially if you're ADSing. I don't hardly touch the 870 unless I've got a laser sight and a long barrel. I think with that combination, you get the maximum amount of range, plus you get still great hipfire accuracy, so you don't have to waste the time ADSing. You can just sprint around, blast away from the hip, and do some serious work. I don't think I was running it on this class, but a lot of times I like to have lightweight so I can move quickly, and extreme conditioning just so that I pretty much never have to stop running on a map like this. And as long as you're moving quickly, you're going to keep the enemy guessing. A lot of times you can just simply dodge a lot of their shots as you're strafing. And again, if you're remotely close to them, your one-hit kill, you're taking them down extremely fast. Even if you miss a shot, oftentimes if you're strafing, you can get a second shot off before they kill you. A couple things to take note with this class: you definitely want to make good use of cover. You don't mindlessly run out in the open. You'll see me several times throughout the map before I head out into the bigger area, kind of taking stock of the situation, seeing where my teammates are around the map, and that kind of gives you a good idea of where the bad guys are as well. If you don't hear a lot of firefights going on and you see all your teammates in one area, well, the bad guys are in another area. And so you can kind of use that as a guide to move throughout the map and not get caught too many times with your shotgun out at a range where it's not effective. If I know I'm coming up on a long corridor and I want to take that path for some reason, I'll just go ahead and switch to the crossbow so I've got it ready. Peek around, see if anything's there. When I decide to take off running, I'll do this a couple times in this video as well. I think I've already done it once or twice. I'll switch to my shock charge, and I'll toss one down to the other side. And that way, if you're halfway down the run and a guy does pop around the corner and you're stuck and there's nothing you can do, you got a shock charge down there that's going to freak him out, slow him down, buy you a couple seconds to get close within range, and then you can finish him off just like normal. This is not the only map that you could run this class setup on. I think it's the best map for it, simply because this is one of, if not the smallest maps. But I could see slums or standoff, maybe even plaza being some legitimate maps. There's probably a couple others as well that you could run this kind of a setup on. You would just have to be careful with the open areas. Choose your paths wisely. There is no law that says you have to run every inch of the map, and I'm not saying to sit in one room, but patrol an area, if you're on standoff, kind of roam in between the line of buildings that kind of cut diagonally across the map, and then pretty much every guy you run into is going to be a fairly close range guy, and you're going to be effective. Don't take off through open areas because, you don't want to be a quote-unquote camper. You're just going to die a lot and get frustrated, and it's not going to be helpful to your team. So choose your paths widely. I actually call it zoning. Myself and a lot of the other Yesh guys have done this for several Call of Duties now. Choosing a class that you just zone with. You pick a section of the map, not just one room, but a good, maybe 30% of the map, like a pretty big chunk of it, and you just zone it. You own that area, make it yours, and just rotate around that zone, locking it down. And anytime the enemies enter that zone, which is going to be all the time, they know they have to deal with you while the rest of your teammates are out causing chaos elsewhere. I'll probably do another one or two videos on zoning specifically with some key pointers and entire videos showing me doing it as an example. But a class like this definitely lends itself to the zoning mindset on just about any map other than Hijacked. Hijacked is so small, you can pretty much go anywhere you want, and if you're careful of the long paths, you're usually going to be fine with your shotgun. The Crossbow has a variety of setups. You know, the tri-bolt is neat. The last thing you unlock for it, it shoots literally all 3 crossbow bolts at once. And that's very brutal, and they spread out a little bit, so you've got more of a chance of hitting the guy if he's a little ways off. But my problem with that is that you only get 2 shots, and then it's a slow reload between those 2 shots. So if your first bolt misses, you pretty much got nothing. Whereas with the normal bolt setup, you got 3 pretty rapid shots before it does its little reload. And most of the time, 1 bolt is good enough if you're taking your time and lining up the right shot. I love the dual band scope for the crossbow. I think it's definitely the best setup for it because there's no wavering around. The scope doesn't move when you're looking through it. You don't have to steady yourself. You look through it and it just sits there perfect. So you can really check out a window that way without having to worry about a little sway of the scope, you know, holding you up. You've seen me do here and a couple other times in this video. They had a guy running an assault shield, maybe a couple guys, and they think they're safe when explosives hit the front of the assault shield, but they're not. All it takes is 2 to put them down, and most of the time they'll just sit there staring at you while you're shooting them. So, you know, you just put 1 crossbolt into the front of the shield, and as soon as it clicks over the second one, shoot it again, and they're done. So that's a neat little trick that for some reason a lot of guys haven't really figured it out, at least in the games I've been playing. They have the assault shield and they think they're invincible, and you can really tear them up pretty easily that way. So I like the dual band again, like I said, for the crossbow. I don't think you should run the little second attachment for the crossbow to have multiple things because, again, it's not your primary weapon. It's more of just a last-ditch saving effort when you hit a long path. And as you've seen in this video, even a lot of times I hit these long paths, I just chunk my shock charge down to the end and let that protect me while I'm running down that path. So I would focus your points elsewhere rather than putting too much on the crossbow, but don't forget it's there, especially if there's a guy that's got you like pinned down behind a barrier and you can't get anywhere and he's like up on a window or something. Then the crossbow can really help you out. Even if you just land it close to him, a lot of guys will panic and back away and you have a chance to escape. We're getting fairly close to the end of this video. Last point I want to make is I'm running the UAV counter UAV orbital VSAT combo for my score streaks, and this is probably my 3 favorite score streaks to run. They all help your team, and everyone wants to win. So even if you don't have a crazy run, but you go through these a couple of times, it's always going to help your team, which is awesome. Plus, you get insane points. Every time one of these is in the air, anytime your teammate gets a kill, you get points as well. So if you've got 2 of these in the air simultaneously, and then you got 4 or 5 teammates getting 2 or 3 kills each, that is a ton of points for you on your own. And it can really help you kind of boost up to that next score streak. So that wraps up this video. I hope you enjoyed it. Give this class a run if you haven't tried it yet, or if you struggle with your shotgun getting caught in areas where it's, doesn't have the long enough range to get the kill. Thanks for watching. Leave a comment below with your thoughts, and as always, don't forget, in Black Ops 2, only rookies complain when they lose.